then hit go live. Alright, so we should be live right now.
Pot of Things.
And just look at this.
Are they hearing us?
Welcome to the Pot of Things Podcast Network with your hosts Michael Evans and Paloma Lopez. Enjoy the following
I always talk
content.
over this fucking thing. Anyways. And we are live.
Oh, man.
Yes, here we are.
Watch out.
Yes.
What's up, dude?
Two cool dudes on the town.
Doing the cool stuff.
Yeah. So shit, man. How you been?
Solid. Solid as a rock. You know that song?
I don't think I do. But...
So, ha 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 ha. That's fucking great. I don't know the name of the song. Yeah.
All right.
So what are we doing today?
So, yeah. Today, we got Matthew O'Neill here.
Hello, everybody.
We went to SAC together back in the day, studied music, learned a lot of fun things.
San Pedro High. You know?
Yeah. You know, did the thing that many San Antonians have done. But Matthew here actually moved on, is getting his doctorate right now.
In music, not like a real degree, folks. Nothing serious.
You're like Robert Frost, man.
I literally know nothing about Robert Frost.
Well,
I'll come clean.
You took the road less traveled.
Oh, yes.
You know
the road that led to indentured servitude and homelessness. Yeah. All right. No.
It was more of a byproduct of those things, I think. You know, because what led to all of that was this royalty, you know? Like
a lot of bad stuff.
You know, could we have, like, Mozart and all that shit if there weren't, like, the royal class to pay for it?
You know, I was thinking about something. I was, my sister is a teacher, and she teaches, like, at some charter school that's got all these kids that learn nothing about science and stuff. Juan Pablo is on with us. Anyways, she teaches science, and, she's talking about how they don't have money for even science projects and some things. And we all know education's going towards STEM stuff. You know, it's all science, and they just want to pump out things that make money. You know, of course, makes sense.
Sure.
And, then the art dorks are all like, they need to make it STEAM so that they include the arts, you know. And both approaches are really stupid. But, music is one of those things that you could totally study in the science classroom, you know, like how sound actually works.
Well, music is the pitch that something makes when it vibrates. I mean, is it not? In time?
Or pitches.
Yeah.
In time is always a thing.
Yeah.
Some people speculate that there's music that exists outside of time, this, like, imaginary music, you know. Like,
imaginary music.
You know, that's a little too...
So it's like imaginary numbers.
A little stupid. Right? Sure. That's also something I don't know anything about. Folks, I know not much about that.
He's humble.
Right. You gotta be honest.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now that we got that out of the way, feel free to, just... pull whatever out of wherever.
Are people gonna ask questions? What is all this? Look how old I am. Like, I need to be one of them old fuckers with a.
Ask questions, people.
Oh yes, please. So these are people. Yes, please, folks. Ask questions. I have nothing better to do than answer questions about things that do not matter whatsoever, and I'll do my very best to help you understand, or maybe understand less what I think I know.
Yeah. Could you answer a question in Spanish?
No. Not. I could try.
Okay.
It'd be bad.
Fair enough.
I'll try.
Yeah, because I know, we get people from Mexico.
Of course, we have a translator in the other room. That's where it's like she's actually legit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that's she knows it. So, but anyways, I'll try for sure.
Okay. So, but anywho, I mean, enough about that. But yeah, I like music. I think everyone likes music, and there's something inherent about music where, by nature, everything is emitting a type of music. Like I saw this thing on National Geographic, where the dude strapped microphones around a tree and recorded the tree sounds, but he had to slow it down like hundreds of times before it was anything audible to us.
You know, when we think about a sound, it's wave, the simplest sound, the continuous sine wave, right? It's a wave that's going at a specific rate. And so there's a speed to it, and there's a regularity to it. And if you think about how atoms move together back and forth, that if you slow something down slow enough, sound actually could be pulses that happen even very like many millions of years apart, and it would still technically be a number that we can calculate. So technically, it's still a sound. And that's how they measure those, like the sound of the galaxy. So
is that the qualification? It has to be something we can measure.
Well, I think if you can measure something, we tend to have a definition for it, right? It's something we can is tangible.
It's very important to us. We measure it, put a name on it, we understand
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. And the level at which we measure it, like is the next level of refinement, and we feel like we know more than the people before us, when really it's just
Well, we think we know the most, actually.
Every new generation does. They think they know the most.
It kills me, but yeah. So
and technically we do. It's just not everything that actually advances, but certain things do advance. We do know more.
So I'm totally down with imaginary music in that context, because without a doubt, there are things we can't perceive. Therefore, there's music that we can't perceive.
Yeah.
But we can try to imagine what it would be like, like could it be the sound of, people being stabbed or something.
Or anything regular or whatever, or could it? Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, you mean art? Not were we still talking about how sound makes music, or is it like we're talking about what makes art? Like art music, sonic art.
Yeah, I jumped from one track to another without any warning there. Sorry about that.
Oh, no sweat.
Yeah, that definitely was like a jab at the art scene of like, you told me about there's an imaginary note that's 20 octaves above the stave.
Yeah, it's a little too philosophical. It's a little too like 1970s academic, scholarly academic, philosophic stuff. But anyhow, I will say, if you think about a sound, something that's regular, we talk about frequency. It happens, it vibrates a certain number of times per minute. You slow it down, and if somebody's sitting there, if those of you watching, something in 4/4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, like every bit of music, pop music, is a lot in that, and that's that regular pulse. If you just did a note on every beat, regular, bump, 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 that is still a rate, which can be calculated as a frequency and can be a sound. And it'd be a really, really low sound. It'd be like those guys with those cars, it's like so low that the windows vibrate. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like sub our hearing, but we feel the pressure, and we feel a regular pulsing pressure. And so rhythm is pitch, and pitch is rhythm.
I never thought of rhythm as pitch.
Yeah.
Like, because you have instruments of indeterminate pitch, like a drum, cymbals, yada yada, percussion, but that we do have to recognize it actually is a pitch.
But those are in a little bit different of a context, because they do have sound waves, but there's so many of them that they get jumbled up so much that we don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it's a complex inharmonic sound.
I see. I think it's a complex inharmonic sound.
I've got lots of big words.
Yeah, please. What up?
I'm not prepared to defend what they mean. So is anybody asking, how do you... Oh, sorry, guys. We're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Let me read this. The Pot of Things podcast. Yep. How do you do the music for video games? Well, I don't specifically write video game music. Maybe the question is, how
would you do it?
How do you do the... Well, how... Oh, I see.
The thing you have to understand is you've got at least 30 years, 40 if you want to go back to Atari and television and stuff, of music.
A body of repertoire.
So, when you say video game music, actually, like the Nintendo, the 8-bit sound, it's an actual genre where people make music to sound like that, like it's a Nintendo game from the 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, and there's a lot of nostalgia in music. We think... I saw a documentary just the other day of the guy, Jack White from the White Stripes. Is that his name,
he's
Jack?
all big. Yeah, he's back in the news.
He has a video. It's a movie, right? But he's got the clothing, bringing it back, the sound, even so much that it dictates fashion. Yeah, I think that is a thing, right? I wonder if all the people at Comic-Con sit around like bumping 8-bit music.
Certainly.
Like in there, and that's all they listen to. Like, and they look at somebody and they're like, "Get that shit out of here!
Yeah.
Live instruments, fuck you!"
Yeah.
He's like, "That's not music."
Yeah. I mean...
but let me answer. Let's see this. Let me try to square this away. So how do you do the music for video games? Well, technically, making video game music is one thing. Like how to actually create it and put it on a computer and send the music to people. But how do you... I guess maybe the question this caller is asking about, I don't know what you call it on here. But I think what they're asking is like, how do you effectively maybe write video game music? How would you put music to a video game in a way that it like makes something come out of the game and make the game into something more, but not detract from it and be in a collaborative process with the game makers? I would say that the number one way that they would do a good job of it would be to collaborate with the intent of the game. So if there's storyline, if there's like something happening to a character, maybe there's some quality to the music that makes it, how would one say, representative of what the character is going through. A very good example from 8-bit is from The Legend of Zelda. Bum 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 ba da dum bum ba da 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 dum da dum da dum da 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 dum ba da da dum ba da dum ba dum, right? That thing. If you listen to the very beginning of it, here's Zelda. What's the story? Do you know the backstory? We should have had this prepared, but we're making this shit up. I think Zelda, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been years, but here's Link, right? And he's going after Princess Zelda, and there's he was
captured by Ganon,
this kind of
thing. There's a Triforce that's going to give him the power.
He's a lowly kid that doesn't even have a wooden sword, and then he goes into thing, and this guy's like, here's a fucking stick, bro. Like you have to be like the man of the universe, but you're going to start with a stick, right? And you've got to save this person. So
like, go kick some bugs
and there's so much hope in that theme. Bum 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 ba da dum bum ba da dum. I changed keys. Bum ba da dum.
It's that flat seventh.
That sounds very happy, right? It's like Link's hopeful at the beginning, right? But then he realizes that it's going to be a struggle, and there's some gravitas, some gravity. Bum 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 ba da dum. Very hopeful, very fierce and romantic. Dun da 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 dum. It's like going up a mountain, like and Link realizes that, and so. The video game producer, the people that wrote the music did a good job of making that sound like the story. And so take a very long time to answer that question. I feel that that's the number one thing, is to try and copy or show what the story is. And I think that's at least the roots of it. Let's go to the next one. So I'm sorry. Yeah. How do you do the music for? How do you choose what type of rhythm of music you're going to use in a certain type of video game? Oh, what kind of rhythm? Yeah. I mean, I think it's characteristic also.
Well, going back to the 8-bit days. So Koji Kondo, when he composed the music for Super Mario Brothers, he set the standard for what would be water stage music for like the next 10 years. The way that he did it, And what's funny is that in Super Mario 3, he actually like broke some of his rules while still keeping the general feel. Because the first one is, it's in a triplet. Da 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 da. It's a waltz, right? But then in Mario 3, it's in 4/4. But it feels like it's compound.
Can you sing that one?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
But we'll
look it up some other day.
But it's an interesting thing that they are able to do that, to take something that once it's ingrained in the mind as this means this kind of feel of lazy, sleepy, like if Mario is a fast guy, and then all of a sudden he's going like like trying to avoid the fish, and the fish are moving slow and easily. It's so difficult. And so I think that very much represented what that sounded like, and they were keen to understand that, hey, now we have these things called leitmotifs. We can take a motive that this will, if you hear this, it will put this in your mind. And rhythm is probably the one thing that we feel the most, because it's the thing that permeates our entire life. The sun comes up regularly, it goes down regularly.
Sure does.
There's this many seconds in a day, that sort of thing. So we're very used to rhythm. People, this is when the harvest starts. This is
harvest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
They knew when we were closest to the sun. They knew it, and it was regular, and it was happening. So rhythm's a huge thing. So I think rhythm, composers would take things rhythmically to make motives, to make us think things. I think that's a really good way. There's many others, like action, things like that, and to just describe physical things they're saying. There's all kinds of ways to use, infinite ways. But I think that's one of those ones, maybe if we're talking about roots of, since we're just on that subject of early music, not that I'm an expert in this by any means, but I do know a little bit. What else we got?
Everyone else is just saying saludos.
Saludos.
Hey,
¿Qué onda?
Yeah, if you have any questions, like ask us anything about music you want to know specifically, or just in general. I like talking about planets. I love to speculate. I know nothing about other planets, but man, I love to just speculate as to what is that darn red spot on Jupiter. Actually, do you know about the hexagons on the poles of Saturn?
I've seen the pictures.
That's fucking crazy. And
I didn't want that Harry Carey scene right now. Like if you were made of,
Okay. So you know what they speculate it is?
What's that?
Jets of some kind of chemical. It's like air jets. That's their best guess right now. I was watching a program on it. Like they had a program, and that was what they concluded, was that there's some kind of air jets, I'm like, come on, dude. Like I don't even know what it is.
Well, sometimes I'll say this. Although that's probably what it is. I do sometimes think people who like want to study that are at the mercy of those who actually are willing to talk about it on their news program. So, like somebody in the news, like they're looking for a story so desperately that they talk about something that, now if it's a reputable science journal and they're like, oh, blah, 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 we don't know. And that's
or NPR.
That's
where I heard it actually. Science Friday.
Oh God,
they fill a whole day.
Then that's bad. That's really bad. That means that the scientists have no idea, and that's bad.
And no one cares. That's the thing, We'll just bury it on NPR.
The news I've been seeing is really terrible. The quality out there.
You can't even hardly watch news, man. Like, people ask me, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Like the windows that blew out on the Southwest flight. Or someone got shot at a strip club. Like, I gave a guy a ride today that he sells he freshens you up in the strip club bathroom. Like, he's got all the...
What is the name of that job? Does anybody know the name of that job? Is the Earth flat? Matty Chadwa. Boy... I think it is. I think it is because they say it on the news program. Now, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah. So,
saludos.
We all went to SAC together.
Is it square? It may be square. It may be square.
I think it's hexagonal, actually. And that's why we see a hexagon on Saturn, because we're looking from a hexagon planet. But maybe. I think if you had maybe the Earth, it is like a geometric shape, but it's like an uncountable number, and when we look at it from afar, it just looks like a sphere. Like if you had like a million-sided object, what would it look like?
I don't think we could perceive it.
It would just look like a ball. It would just be round.
Oh, I see. A sided, a million-sided object. Yeah, sure.
And and so
are there irregular sided objects? I mean, that's
sure.
That's just
certainly. Why not? I mean, shit. Nothing's perfect in this world.
Ain't nothing perfect.
Nah, man. But anyways, But this homeboy that I picked up with the
what are those called? The people that you're the
it has a title
giver. I'm sure it does. A butler. You're a bathroom butler. I guess a bathroom butler. I think that sounds about. Maybe that's what the folks in the UK would say.
Yeah.
He's a butler for the loo.
A loo butler. Well, they do say they have loo paper.
The lad of the loo. I don't know.
Yeah, I love British slang. The slang.
Yeah, we're getting off topic. Yeah. What was it that you were telling me about this guy?
I don't even remember why I brought it up.
Oh wow,
it's too late. It's okay.
So it's gone.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
Man.
Keep on rolling, baby.
You guys want to know something? A very regular sound that you hear that I hear right now. Man. Sorry. It's really low. B flat. Is that B flat? It sounds like it's everywhere.
You're a low B flat? God damn, son.
No, I don't think that's happening. I don't know. Anyways, the electricity that goes through our walls flows at 60 hertz on a good day or bad day. Like it's supposed to be 60 hertz. And B flat, 2. the one right before C3 on the piano. That B flat is like 2 hertz off. So you get that note in our ears all the time. Actually, there's nowhere you can go that you can actually escape. There's plenty of places, but it's very rare that if you think about it, everywhere you go, there's a refrigerator humming, there's an AC humming, there's something humming, and typically it's, if you're indoors, you're hearing B flat, but I think that's something else. I think that's an air compressor outside. But
yeah, now they've been working next door for a while. They're chopping trees and stuff. It's good. I'm glad. I don't know if you can hear the chopping down trees through the microphones here.
It's probably what it is. But this pitch, if you go to your refrigerator right now, this is what you're gonna hear. B flat. It'll be actually a little sharp.
Too a little sharp.
Yeah, but you hear it everywhere. And let's talk about that in some way that we talk about rhythm. How do you think? Sure. How do you think it is that we have rhythm all in our body all the time, and that we also are surrounded by rhythms all the time? Irregular rhythms, constant rhythms, things we're saying them right now. We're using rhythm with our voice.
Sure.
Very, very precise, very controlled types of sounds that mean very distinctive things. Rhythms all over, and we also have it. We remember we made that connection that rhythm is sound, but there's always a constant sound. How would you feel having a constant thing happen to you all the time, all the time? You know, something that starts to get on your nerves. Do you think that people out there at large get tired of certain rhythms, and would they therefore get tired of certain like consistent sounds, repetitive things? Is that pollution?
Sure. I mean, it's why a lot of the people are moving right now from California to Bernie, you know, is because, that, like what you're talking about, you know, this doesn't happen to us often, but if you live in a bigger city, it's night and day, 24/7. You eat and breathe and drink it like to the max, you know, just like, like hundreds and thousands of cars and planes, and actually they say in New York
the decibels were so high at one point that they had to like. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh no, I was going to say that there's so many cars that the exhaust, the micro from the exhaust, microparticles collects on like your windowsill and shit, and it's like and of the exhaust.
How is that? How does not like everybody see that? Like just look at it once in your life and say that has to change. Like that's not a good thing. Yeah. How could that be a good thing? Yeah, I don't know.
People accept it, you know, or just like the frog in the hot water, I guess.
Sure.
But anyways, going back a couple stages before we get too lost, you were asking about there's rhythm that we're all around. People are getting tired of it, you know, but at the same time we're becoming more connected and dependent on it. Like for example, like how many of us could do our jobs, whatever your job is, without any digital technology? No computers, no phones, no.
You're talking about the proverbial anybody?
Like this, if right now, like, so check this out. I had this hypothetical. I thought this would make like a good book or a movie. Like where if, let's say, the Koreans develop a bomb that destroys all like inorganic matter, like anything that's not like a living, breathing animal or cellular or something like that, it immediately just like vaporizes it. So if that bomb dropped on us, everything that's like all this artificial shit we made immediately is gone.
Okay, let's assume that.
Like that.
However it happens. Like so that happens. Then what would happen? Like what would we? That's a really profound. I don't know, man. That's scary.
Yeah, you know. So I mean, that's like the antithesis, like way to the other side. When you're saying like we're in New York, I'm like, wow.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. We're going towards that mechanization on such a high level.
But what we've done is we have surrounded ourselves with an artificial vibration and artificial music and art. All of these things, all of these dead things, are not producing the same wavelengths and frequencies through their living that trees and plants and all these things do. And, you know, blocking ourselves off from it, it has like negatively affected us in pretty much every way. The way we think, the way we progress generation to generation. Like we wanted to make our lives simpler, but and more comfort. You know, everyone wants comfort and enjoyment. But what we did was just make our lives actually more hellish because it's so unnatural. And so and so by nature, you know, you had music that was mimicking that type of stuff like come the 20th century, when we started boxing ourselves in wholesale with the birth of the Industrial Revolution, you had the classic is Stravinsky, where people lost their freaking minds and rioted on the opening day of this ballet. It was a ballet, dude.
Isn't that crazy that people rioted at a ballet? I mean, it shows you how important it was to people. Can you imagine? I mean, what's really important to people artistically now? Imagine the Super Bowl, and you go into the Super Bowl, and somebody at halftime decides to go out there and do something that's not a half, decides to show you I don't know something that I could compare that would be to what the extent that ballet we're talking about had on those people, but. Just imagine we've got Super Bowl and how many people are dependent upon it to survive as Americans. America, they need it. But if you think about what would happen if they got rid of halftime, and then there was no halftime.
Sorry, folks.
It was sit and be fit. No, everyone had to do sit and be fit,
and they'd have to come over the intercom and be like. Now,
see, that makes that ballet seem in a negative light. I'm not trying to say the quality of the art, because obviously it's fantastic art. But what I'm saying, I'm saying is, I want to be clear because it's not how I feel. I do think that it's something that what I said would be profound enough to show the same amount of shock. Certainly, if you got rid of halftime, I mean, it would be absolutely. I don't even know. Can you imagine if during halftime they just rolled out some big screens and they were like, "You are all now going to watch a video on defensive driving"?
No, dude, I've got it perfect.
Dude. This is how you make sure. Or what about the bullshit you see all the time on Facebook? Now, and I don't mean to say that the crap is it's all bullshit. But what I'm saying is it's so constant that it is bullshit, because the more constant information is, the more bullshit it is in a way.
Well, and it's accessible to every single person, and not every single person.
It's too accessible, and it's over accessible, and so people don't want it, and they start to ignore it. And it becomes drawl. Anyways, can you imagine if it was you had to watch videos about even share this picture, if it's that kind of stuff, if you had to watch a video of this with the sad music, and it's nice. This many times a day, or whatever, if you had to watch that at halftime, what would happen? And then if they said there's no gambling,
God,
I guess for something like that.
I have to say, I think I have the best one. You John Cage it. You do 4:33 for halftime
of silence. But at the most happiest time of America's week, we are very fickle people. You always see those movies that's Caesar so and so, and all these legionary kind of guys. You watching the ancient Roman stuff, and they always talk. Every single one of those movies, they say Rome's. The people, they're so fickle. That's one thing to the next. The next week, they're the mob, right? I think we're there. I do.
Oh, sure, it's day to day now, and the headhunting is insane, man.
So imagine if it was the John Cage thing of at halftime, it's complete silence, but it's not at a moment of America's low. We just had some crazy shooting, although we keep having those. But say there's some mass shooting, right? And it's not one of those times. It's America just did something awesome, and we just made America great again. If everybody in America thought today was badass because this happened and this happened, we're celebrating the David Bowie and the fucking if it was one of those days, and you had to make everybody sit down and listen to 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence, the shock, not the artistic thing, but the shock of it would be comparable, I think. I would imagine. But people were ready to hurt each other, put physical violence on other people because they were arguing about what they were watching. Fuck you, this is garbage. Which do we see that? We see it in a culturally entrained way in moshing, though. It's kind of there's just so violence, but it's only
right. But
there are people get hurt. But I'm saying they're not going to
squash
squash somebody's brains out. They're not going to they're not going to do that. Of course, it's not going to be that violent. There's a level of violence which is allowed.
Let me tell you a quick story.
But this was one of those upsets you didn't know what could happen, I suppose.
Yeah. So
crime.
I went to this band once that was called. Their name was Full Blown AIDS. All right. And I was invited because a guy that had a record label, I wanted to talk to him about signing my band. So he's like, hey, and he's a nice dude. Hey, come see my band. We're playing at such and such place. I'm like, okay, cool, right? So I go out there with my ex, Steph. You remember Steph?
Yes, Banana.
Yeah, Banana, exactly. And so we get there, and then the moment they hit the guitar, there's like, "Blah!" and they start smashing glass on the ground and start moshing on top of the glass. And before I know it, a guy is completely naked, like running around, and like I've never seen anybody probably more afraid than like, I mean, it was like fight or flight, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, these people, are you that bored with moshing? You had, you know, this is the natural evolution, is spit blood all over each other and stuff. And so it's like,
I reminded of the Whitest Kids You Know skit, you know, buzz, buzz, buzz. The punk rock show, you know, the guy comes out and he's like, hey, they're like, man, this show better be punk fucking rock, man, you know, and they're all like talking about all these things that make it all badass and punk rock. And then they get in there and there's this hippie guy from like the West Coast with his guitar. He's like, and he's got like a fucking vest on with flowers and bullshit. He's like, hello, everybody. He's like, are y'all ready to hear some music? And then he's just singing the stupidest song, and out of nowhere he like pulls his pants down, takes a shit on the stage, you know, and pisses all over people, like cuts himself all up, you know. But he's like, and the booze, and they're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like this. He's like, would it make your parents uncomfortable? He's like, then it's punk rock, you know, like, they're being funny there. Man, that's crazy. They go lay on some, you know, there was some guy that cut his dick off on stage. There's been some crazy.
You only get to do that once.
But I mean, think about it. And the same.
Maybe it was a magic trick.
Well, that's what I thought of. You know, you look back and like people would do that. They put this is the guy who puts the sword. They put through his tongue and shit. I mean, you know, like
what? Oh, there it is.
I have yet to see somebody go out on stage and stand up and be like, blah, you know. You have to see that. Another Whitest Kids You Know skit.
It was like the American Idol.
It was like American Idol, but they had
commit suicide.
Yeah, and they're like, bravo.
So bad.
Like, they just kill themselves on stage and they'd be like, that was terrible.
Yeah. So we're at about 30 minutes right now. So you gotta head on down the road.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely. Sorry we didn't have more to talk about.
I mean, that's how it goes. You fit whatever you can in 30 minutes, and I find like, you know, as you're talking, it's going to branch off into many directions, and whichever ones you choose to go down, that's where you went, you know?
It's an interesting thing what happens with a conversation.
No regrets.
Make it go places. So y'all should really call in and ask questions.
Call and ask questions.
Well, not call.
Yeah.
Let the watch to see what happens with the actual conversation. Yeah. Great. Well, nice meeting you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, until next time. Someday I'm going to get an outro video, but I don't have one now, so let's